Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Cold Waters and our playthrough of the South China Sea campaign with the dot mod. In the last episode we managed to go ahead and sink another reinforcement convoy that was headed towards Hong Kong. And in this episode we have received orders that the Russians are sending basically a surface fleet through the Sea of Japan to Cam Ram. We're ordered to intercept, which we will do. Which we actually already have. I kind of moved off map a little bit. But we have intercepted them in the South China Sea in that same spot just to the east, slightly northeast of Busan. But we'll go ahead and all hands man battle stations and jump right in.
On sonar.
We'll immediately make turns for 0 knots.
Turns for 0 knots. Maneuvering eye. Con sonar new contact bearing 043. Designated Sierra 2.
I can already tell you the very first thing I'm going to do is fire off all 4 torpedoes. Fire tube 1, fire tube 2 bearing 323, fire tube 3 bearing 083, fire tube 4 bearing 087.
Con sonar new contact bearing 035. Designated Sierra 6.
And the reason I'm doing this, you can see we already have quite the collection
sonar new contact bearing
of contacts.
03. Designated Sierra 7. Con sonar Sierra 2 is classified as escort.
You can see we have Udaloy. Oh, let me open the guide. Udaloy 7,500 tons. We have a Kirov class guided missile cruiser, 28,000 tons. We have a Kiev class aircraft carrier cruiser kind of mix, 40,000 tons. We have a Shilkin, which is a fleet oiler.
Is classified as escort.
So we have quite the group, and now there's a Kara in the back too. So we'll go ahead and move 3 and 4 to start a more 45-degree angle.
Con sonar
Sierra 7's a merchant.
Is classified as merchant.
We'll go ahead and move these 2 torpedoes around so it looks like they came from a different direction.
Con sonar Sierra 1 is classified as
There's another
escort.
Udaloy. So I do want to hit the Kiev and the Kirov here, because I think those are both going to take 2 torpedoes apiece because of how big they are. So those will be my priority targets. We'll bring 3 and 4 up a little bit more. Should still have plenty of runtime on stuff. Don't want to hit the Shilkin. The Shilkin has no defenses, so we can fire off a missile at it and leave it for last. But we'll go ahead, get 1 and 2 running. Oh, looks like they've had a launch on something. Yeah, it's not quite us. They have detected this stuff, but it's a lot. They detected the torpedoes, but they think we just shot them. So they have decided to go ahead and fire off torpedoes in the hopes of hitting us immediately. But we're gonna go ahead and turn torpedo 1 a little bit to the left. Same thing with torpedo 2, we're gonna turn it left.
Con fire control weapon acquired.
No, I don't want you to acquire.
Con fire control weapon acquired.
Oh, somehow a helicopter has found us, so we'll immediately go down to 1,200 feet, fire off a Moss to our left, and reload. Don't know exactly how he saw us, but a little late for that now. We'll move tube 4 over to Kirov. Same thing with tube 3.
Fire control weapon acquired.
Set tube 4 to active. set. Same thing with tube 3. Tube 1, I will also set to active.
Tube 5 ready.
And tube 2 I'll also set to active, but it's also going to go after the
Con
Kiev.
sonar, noisemaker, bearing. Con sonar, torpedo in the water, torpedo in the water, bearing 027.
Looks like we got our first hit on the Kirov. Reload tube 4.
Con, fire control, weapon acquired.
Weapons acquired. We'll bring tube torpedo 1 around.
Bearing, 0,
Same
3,
thing with
8.
2. Impact, second torpedo on the Kirov. Kirov is going down. We'll go ahead and also load tube 3 with a Mark 48. We do still have this pesky torpedo after us. I hope it finds the moss though.
Con, torpedo room, tube 4 ready.
On. Officer damaged. Unable to contain the
That's
flooding.
not great.
Damage control parties. Lay to the engine room.
We will immediately lay to pumps. Doesn't look like we've taken on any flooding, which is good.
0, feet. Dive by.
We're of course working on the pumps to prepare those up. Do you have torpedoes up after the Kiev?
Con sonar, noisemaker, bearing 026.
Impact from one torpedo.
Con, fire control, weapon. Con sonar, noisemaker, bearing.
Impact from a second.
7.
So it's going to need a third. However, it looks like the propellers have stopped spinning. Oh, they're still creating bubbles, so who knows, maybe it's still going. Anyway, we'll fire off tube 3
Shoot tube 3. Aye, sir.
and tube 4.
Shoot tube 4. Aye, sir. On. Pumps have been repaired.
Pumps have been repaired, excellent. And now we'll fire off tube 1
Shoot tube 1. Aye, sir.
and tube 2.
Shoot tube 2. Aye, sir.
We're going to send these direct after targets because I want things
Con
sunk.
sonar, lost contact. Sierra 3, last bearing 029. Contact breaking up.
Most importantly, I want to hit the Kiev and the Shilkin with torpedoes if I can. Should have enough runtime on them still. We will go after this Utiloid though. The other Utiloid I think is going to run too far, so we'll go after the Kara. Do have a moderate layer at 154 feet, so we will need to keep that in mind for detection. And we'll go ahead and move the torpedo towards the Utiloid. Just as... Oop, I deselected the Kirov, but I meant to pick this torpedo. It's going to activate.
Con, fire control, weapon acquired. Con, fire control, weapon acquired.
There it goes. Oop. I want tube 1. It knows it's coming. We'll set tube 2, torpedo 2 to active. Because it knows we're chasing it. Tube
Con
4
sonar,
will steer
noisemaker,
towards the
bearing
Chilkin.
036.
Con, fire control, weapon acquired.
Weapons reacquired.
Con sonar, noisemaker, bearing 356.
Warrior's going to steer the torpedo in
Con,
here.
fire control, weapon acquired.
And impact.
Con sonar, lost contact.
Ship
Sierra
sunk.
6, last bearing 033.
Tube 1 will
Contact
set to
breaking up.
active weapon sensor now. Should give it a better chance against the countermeasures.
Con,
Con sonar, noisemaker, bearing 3, 5, 4.
We do have flooding now. We're gonna need to set depth to 300.
Make depth 300 feet. Dive by.
And we'll make turns for 5 knots.
Make turns for 5 knots. Maneuvering eye.
Con, fire control, weapon acquired.
We'll turn 4 around. Set it to active.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 3, 5, 2.
Con, fire control, weapon acquired.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 3, 5, 0. Con sonar lost
And
contact.
steer the torpedo
0,
into the
1.
Udaloid.
Last bearing 3, 4.
It's another
9.
ship
Contact
down.
breaking up.
Oh, the Kiev did sink. Oh, interesting. Alright. We do have the
Con sonar
Shulkin.
lost contact. Sierra 5. Last bearing 0.
And we'll
1,
send Tube
5.
3 towards
Contact
the
faded.
Udaloid, I suppose. Shulkin's dead. Kiev looks like it's sunk. All we have left is the Udaloid. We'll reload Tube 4. Send Torpedo 3 over to the Udaloid. I don't know that it's going to have the runtime to get there, though. I don't think it is. No, just not quite. But we will fire off Tube 1, bearing 047.
Shoot tube 1. Aye, sir.
And we will reload Tube 3.
Con, torpedo room, tube 3 ready.
We will rig for
Rig
silent
shift roll to
running.
quiet.
We're gonna let the torpedo run. And we're slowly gonna
Passing
gain.
400 feet.
Yep. But as we go up, it means it's gonna be easier to pump this water out.
Passing 300 feet.
Yep.
Make depth 100 feet. Dive by.
Nope, we're gonna angle the planes up because
Passing 200 feet.
otherwise you're not actually doing what you're supposed to be.
Passing 100 feet.
Okay, now we'll pump water. Here we go. Oh,
Make depth 150 feet. Dive by.
don't want to expose ourselves. I feel like we already have though. Torpedo 1 is about to activate and run. Yep, there it goes.
Con, fire control, weapon acquired.
Weapon's gonna make a
Dive
360.
at 150 feet. Dive by.
And then home in. Gonna go to active.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing.
Turn the
0,
torpedo to the
4,
right.
5.
It's reacquired. And impact here.
Con
No.
sonar lost contact. Sierra 2. Last bearing 0.
But
4,
that should be
6.
every ship
Contact
sunk.
breaking up.
And because we have nothing else nearby, we will immediately leave. Having sunk all the vessels for 115,000 tons with 137,000 experience. Sinpak is very pleased. For that, we're awarded the Navy Cross to Commander Archie Perker, Commanding Officer USS Seawolf, SSN-21, for extraordinary heroism and leadership in action against the enemy as Commanding Officer of USS Seawolf in the vicinity of the Sea of Japan. 23rd of October 2000, Commander Archie Perker's outstanding seamanship and skillful tactics inflicted great damage on the enemy forces, and his conduct upheld the highest traditions of the United States Naval Service. Excellent. Convoys arrive. Looks like the enemy is going to attempt an amphibious landing of Taipei. However, before we do that, I will once again be returning us to port to undergo repairs and rearmament, because I don't want to be going around with a sub that's not got great hull integrity. Because that will actually decrease the depth at which we can max dive. But here we are, back in Guam. It's 25 days of war with 7 missions accomplished, 1 land strike, 1 insertion, 2 capital ships sunk, 14 other warships, 18 submarines, 7 merchants for 41 vessels. We've now added quite a bit of capital ship tonnage, a total of 68,000 tons. Added a bit of warship tonnage too, bringing our total up there to 50,270 tons. Added a little bit of merchant. But anyways, that puts us up to a total tonnage of 237,450. And you can see we added the Navy Cross to our distinction. Alright, so we will go ahead and rearm. Don't need to do anything else on damage control. And we'll just fill up with torpedoes and then cast off. I imagine the enemy fleet is probably already outside Taipei. Yep, looks like it. Chi comms ashore in Taiwan. A successful amphibious assault has been made on Taipei, Taiwan by Chinese forces, opening yet another front in the South Pacific conflict. Immediate questions have been raised as to what should have been done to protect the coastal region of Taiwan from sea-based assault. The loss of Taipei, Taiwan comes as a massive blow to the U.S. as it continues to lose initiative on multiple fronts. If an attempt to recapture Taipei will be initiated, has not been commented on either DoD spokesman nor the Pentagon. Oh, got an error. We'll continue. Now, the enemy is going to attempt to land commandos in the vicinity of Scarborough Shore. So we'll reroute. Unfortunately, we weren't able to defend Taipei. So, the Chinese have been able to successfully invade Taiwan. However, we still have a foothold in the south, and I imagine there's a conflict going on there between, of course, Taiwanese forces, probably some US forces also. Looks like we had quite the crowd coming after us. No worries, we'll go after them. We have a new sonar contact bearing 74 designated Sierra 1. All hands man battle stations. This will be a surface group. We'll immediately back emergency and then make turns for 0 knots.
0 knots. Maneuvering eye.
You can see we've already picked up on quite a bit. We're just going to let time run a little bit more, get better solutions, firing solutions on these. Two Zhangways, or sorry, a Zhangwei and a Zhanghu 3. Weapons, fire tube 1 bearing 002.
Shoot tube 1. Aye, sir.
Fire tube 2 bearing 156.
Shoot tube 2. Aye, sir.
Con sonar Sierra 1 is classified as
Fire
escort.
tube 3 bearing 359.
Shoot tube 3. Aye, sir.
We want these torpedoes once again to do a dogleg, so we're going to move them away from us and then turn them in order to attack the enemy vessels. We are going to go ahead and start turning some of them to run basically parallel. Try and gain as much ground on the side of them as we can. Looks like some of the vessels are turning. It shouldn't be an issue. We're going to go ahead and turn weapon 2. And then we're going to turn weapon 3 inbound hot along with weapon 1 for the Luda. Now we're going to turn weapon 2 in hot. So weapon 2 will go after the Zhanghu 3, weapon 3 is going to go after the Zhangwei, weapon 1 is going to go after the Luda.
Con, fire control, weapon acquired.
Con sonar noisemaker bearing 093.
We'll steer the torpedo to the left.
Con
It's just
sonar
gonna miss,
noisemaker
but we'll
bearing
come around.
066.
We'll set weapon 3 in a moment.
Con sonar lost
But
contact.
impact with
Sierra 3,
weapon
last
2.
bearing 094. Contact breaking up.
That's a Zhanghu 3 headed to the bottom. We do have weapon 3 tracking the Zhangwei.
Con sonar noisemaker bearing
We'll steer it left.
066.
It's reacquired track and impact.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 065. Contact breaking up.
That's another sunk not Japanese, Chinese vessel. And finally,
Con, torpedo room, tube 3 ready.
we'll reload tubes and send tube 1 over for the Luda. Has two more Chinese ships, sorry, are headed to the bottom. We're hoping to make it a third here with Luda.
Con, fire control, weapon acquired.
Weapon has acquired. It's gonna track in.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 0.
It knows we're there. We'll
3.
set the weapon to active.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 083.
But we're gonna turn the torpedo to the left. It should
Fire control,
reacquire
weapon
track.
acquired.
It has. And
Con
impact.
sonar lost contact. Sierra 1, last bearing 083. Contact breaking up.
And with that, we'll reload tube 1. And then we will get the heck out of Dodge.
Tube 1 ready.
There we go. 3 more ships sunk for about 7,500 tons and a little bit of XP. Do have plenty more hostiles to deal with though. This is a sub, don't know which one. New sonar contact bearing 311 designated Sierra 1.
On sonar.
We'll go ahead and back
Make
emergency.
turns for
And now make turns for 0 knots.
Make turns for 0 knots. Maneuvering eye.
I think that's a sub. We're going to go ahead and fire off tube 1 bearing 005.
Shoot tube 1. Aye, sir.
I think this is just a very shallow submarine, to be honest. I don't think this is
Con
anything
sonar,
else.
new contact bearing 2.
Nope, that's a merchant.
0. Designated Sierra 2.
There is apparently a Sierra 2 out there that I don't see.
Make
We
turns
will make turns for 5 knots and deploy towed array.
Maneuvering eye.
We do have a Sierra 3.
Con sonar.
This is
Sierra
definitely-
2 is classified as merchant.
Alright, Sierra 3 is definitely our target then.
Con sonar.
Yep,
Sierra
it
3
is.
classified as submerged submarine.
Helm plot course heading 273.
Come left to 273. Helm eye.
We do have our
Con,
torpedo
helm,
tracking.
Steady course.
Aye, steady course. But we should be able to sneak this thing up right behind the Romeo. And if we can come at it from the baffles, we can just hit it without it taking any evasive action. So far, we've been able to get around
Con
it.
sonar. Launch
Oh, but
transfer
it detected
from
it, so we'll
Sierra
just move
3.
the torpedo in. That it's active when it reaches its activation point. Looks like it fired back towards the torpedo on a reciprocal bearing.
Con sonar. Noisemaker bearing 303.
Too bad that's not going to help it because we came from an entirely different direction. And impact.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 3. Last bearing 303. Contact breaking up.
And that's another Chinese submarine headed to the bottom.
Con, torpedo room.
We'll reload
tube
tube 1
1
and leave combat because I think that's the only sub. It is. And we'll immediately get into contact with another group. New sonar contact bearing 86 designated 01. All hands to
Sonar,
battle
new contact
stations. We'll
bearing.
immediately
Make
back
turns
emergency. Make turns for 0
Make
knots.
turns for 0 knots. Maneuvering eye.
I'm immediately going to dive to 600 feet, deploy the tow,
Depth
oh,
6, 0.
go to 5 knots and
Make
deploy
turns
towed
for
array.
5 knots. Maneuvering eye. Con sonar.
And that's a
Sierra
Ming
3
directly in
is
front of us.
classified as submerged submarine.
Which isn't great. Let's see what the other two are.
Con sonar.
Merchant
Sierra
and
2
merchant.
is classified
So we're going to
as
fire off
merchant.
tube 1 bearing
Shoot
014.
tube 1. Aye, sir.
He didn't pick up the launch transmission, which is good. So now we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of maneuvering here.
Con, dive at 600 feet, dive I.
Move the torpedo once
Con
again.
sonar.
Oh,
Launch
he's detected
transmit
now,
from
so we'll move the
Sierra
torp
3.
in on a direct bearing. Set weapon sensor to active. My guess is he shot the torpedoes once again in a reciprocal bearing, not at us. He sure did. which is why you always dogleg torpedoes.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 097.
Trying to get the torpedo to lock. It
Con
really doesn't
sonar,
want to. Oh, we
noisemaker
picked him up.
bearing 099.
And impact. It's another Chinese submarine headed towards the bottom. We'll reload tube 1.
Con, torpedo room, tube 1 ready.
We still do have vessels nearby. The Sierra 4 is probably the vessel. Weapons, fire tube 1 bearing 028.
Shoot tube 1. Aye, sir.
We'll go ahead, dogleg it
Sonar,
too.
Sierra 4 is classified as submerged submarine.
Let those weapons pass harmlessly, because, again, shot it on the wrong bearing. We'll go ahead and begin maneuvering the torpedo in for this Romeo. Once we do, we'll have the torpedo come from behind, which it already is. Although I think the Romeo just saw it.
Con sonar, noisemaker
We'll set weapon
bearing
sensor to active.
086. Con sonar, noisemaker bearing
There it is.
085.
Yep, that's a dead sub.
Con sonar,
Impact.
lost contact. Sierra 4, last bearing 083. Contact breaking
And that's
up.
another submarine head towards the bottom. We'll reload tube 1
Con, torpedo room,
and
tube
get
1
out of here. 2 more subs sunk, 15,000 XP. Not our mission objective still, but we got 2 more groups of submarines. Well, we'll go for the next one. Sonar's picked up another contact, bearing 124, designated Sierra 1.
On sonar, lost contact.
We'll go ahead,
Make turns for.
make turns for 0 knots, set
Make
depth
turns
to
for
600,
0 knots. Maneuvering eye.
make turns for 5 knots and
Make
deploy
turns
towed
for
array.
5 knots. Maneuvering eye. Con sonar, new contact bearing 123. Designated Sierra 2.
That's going to be our sub.
Con sonar,
Yep.
Sierra 1 is classified
Alright,
as
fire
submerged
tube 1 bearing
submarine.
184.
Shoot tube 1. Aye, sir.
Con sonar, launch transient from Sierra 1.
Oh, he heard us. Alright, that's not great. So we'll immediately move the torpedo back over to here, set it to active, retract the array, and set depth for 2,000 feet.
Con sonar, lost contact.
2,000.
Sierra 2.
Make depth 2000 feet, dive by.
We're gonna dive deep and fast. Make turns for 10 knots.
10 knots. Maneuvering eye.
Con, fire control. Weapon acquired.
Weapons acquired. Once we're down here, make turns for 5 knots.
Make turns for 5 knots. Maneuvering eye.
Hopefully those weapons should sail right over us.
Con maneuvering.
You never know though.
5 knots.
Weapon is acquired, it's gonna impact midship.
Con sonar, lost contact. Sierra
And that's
1,
another Chinese
last
sub
bearing
sent to the
1,
bottom.
16.
You seem to be
Contact breaking
doing
up.
quite well at that at the moment.
Con, dive at 2000 feet, dive by.
You can see this is probably in a couple hundred
Con,
feet of
torpedo
water.
room, tube 1 ready.
And that's us, all the way down there. There's no way we're gonna be in its acquisition cone. So once again, it'll sail over top of us. It'll run out of fuel and then detonate. Just gotta wait for it. We do have another vessel though. We'll deploy the towed array again.
Con sonar, regained contact on.
And we do have Sierra 2.
Bearing 116. Con
Another
sonar,
Ming. We
Sierra
will
2
fire.
is classified
Oh,
as
can't fire
submerged
beneath
submarine.
1,600 feet, so we'll go up to 1,600.
Make depth 1600 feet, dive by.
Now once we get there, we'll fire the torpedo off. Here we go. Fire tube 1 bearing 185.
Tube 1. Aye, sir.
Looks like it didn't detect the launch. Which is excellent.
Con, dive at 1600 feet, dive by.
We'll keep the array going behind us. We'll begin to turn the torpedo. Alright, make a final terminal turn.
Con sonar, Sierra
I think
2
it's detected
is
it.
cavitating.
We'll go ahead, set it to active sensor.
Con sonar,
Let the
noisemaker
weapon
bearing
home.
10
It ignored
feet.
the first decoy, and it's not going to get a chance for another one. Impact.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 2, last bearing 105. Contact breaking up.
That's another Chinese substance to the bottom. I feel like I've said that quite a bit already. But we'll reload Tube 1 with a Mark 48,
Come on, torpedo room. Tube 1 ready.
and that'll be us. Another 2 Ming sunk, another 6, about 17,000 experience. Still not our objective. This will be our objective. But I think before we get there, that's where we should end it today. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you hit that like button if you like the video. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more in the future. And hit the notification bell to be notified when the next video comes out. Also, make sure you leave a comment down below. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and bye-bye.